All right. Hey guys, I've got Alicia here. If you guys were active in my group yesterday, you saw the post because it was like the top post in my group where I was kind of talking to you guys about like is there anybody in this group that feels called to write a book? Do you want to become a successful author? Like, do you have any questions about that kind of stuff? And on the thread, I had you guys ask a bunch of questions that I could ask my friend Alicia, who is a premier writing coach and editor, and she helps people with this kind of stuff all the time. And so, yeah, I'm gonna ask her these questions for you guys. And yeah, I'm also being an affiliate for her, which just means that I really believe in what she does, and I'm promoting her and this really epic course that she has coming out. But I wanted her to to answer these questions for you guys. So she's taken the time out of her busy launch to answer these. So that's really cool. So Alicia's going to tell you a little bit about herself, and then we'll just go right into the questions.
Cool. Thank you, Gianna. Like I always love doing Q&A, and I always love just answering questions that people have about the writing world, the publishing world, and allowing them to get to know me more. So really what I do is I am a premier writing coach and editor. I own a media company in the publishing industry. And what that all translates to is that I help entrepreneurs write, edit, publish, and promote the books that they have always dreamed of doing. And I help my clients also get agents if they want to go the traditional publishing route. I help them craft book proposals that get them book deals, and oftentimes not just one for a book deal, but multiple books. I have access to top people in the industry in writing and publishing, agents, editors, contacts at publishing houses. And it's my job to help move people's powerful messages into the world. So this is what I do all day, every day. I live and work in Charleston, South Carolina. So I'm actually not too far from you, Gianna. I'm probably like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. Maybe it's less than 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a good day without traffic. But yeah, I'm so blessed to do what I do. And I have been a writer all my life. So I actually am a writer in real life and followed my passion for writing all the way through school. Got a bunch of degrees, collected a bunch of degrees in writing and publishing, and ghost wrote for a lot of nationally known experts in like child behavioral psychology and family therapy and things like that. I've written everything under the sun for my own stuff, from like poetry to fiction, fiction for teens and children. I have done like more experimental writing. I've done nonfiction, self-help, things like that. And I've worked with clients in all of these different areas. So I know the spectrum of the writing world and how to best bring out a writer's voice. And to not only bring out a writer's voice, but to do it in a way that will get the attention of readers and move and sell books, because ultimately at the end of the day, we want to get our message into the hands of as many people as possible.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I do. Clients hire me. They work with me privately. I also have a really great group on Facebook for women writers called Women Writing and Alchemy, and people find me there. We hang out. We talk about everything literary and creative and all of that, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm here today. So,
yay! Lucky us. Yeah. I mean, what I really love, I met Alicia we worked with a business coach together. And that was like the first time I had met you. Like we weren't friends or anything like that before that. And we connected from there, and I began like kind of seeing like what you put out there and, creeping on your writings a little bit. Cause I know you did the blog that you had. What is it?
The Right Love Project. Yeah.
I was reading those, and that was this blog about her love life, her love chronicles, basically. And which it was fun to read, and just I could really tell that you're very passionate about writing, and, just from the simple little poems and that you would post, and just like, yeah. And as somebody that's in love with a writer, a very passionate writer, I really recognize that energy. And I can also tell that like you have such a passion for it and such a gift for it. And you really care about this stuff, and you really want to help people with this stuff. And so that's what really drew me to want to be an affiliate for you. Like, I can really tell that you really care, and that's so important. And, just from also like, the conversation that you had with Justin, like just from things that he told me, I can just, the care and the focus and the attention that you give to the people that you work with really shows. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, so when I was in grad school, I was also working in publishing, and actually have 2 graduate degrees because I wanted to really set myself up for building the best business for my clients as possible. I have a master's in creative writing, but I also have a master's in publishing. So I learned the business. I was working in the business, but I was also learning and mentoring with some of the best people in the business who were extremely tough on me. And it was the best thing ever. Like at Scholastic, the managing editor of Harry Potter was my mentor for a year. So I was with her side by side as she was helping me develop myself as not only as a creative person, but more so as a business leader. She said to me, if you're going to go out and do this on your own someday and leave like a 9-to-5 at a publisher, then I want you to be armed with X, Y, and Z. And I want you to go out there and like make epic shit happen. And so I said, okay. And so when I finally made the move and I left publishing, I left my day job in publishing, and I went and set up my own company, I thought, okay, like this is my chance now to make this the way that I want it to be. Because if I know anything, I know that there are a ton of writers out there who are undiscovered, who need to be discovered, who need to get their voice out there, because now more than ever, we need that sense of connection. We need to be able to relate to each other as humans in a place of love and a place of positivity. So a lot of what I do is I first help writers break through all of those self-limiting beliefs around like, who am I to do this? I'm not good enough. Nobody's going to care. Someone else has already written about this. There's a lot of that chatter that goes on. And I help them realize that, you know what? Because you have this idea, you're meant to do it. No one else is meant to do it. And only you can write it in the way that it's meant to be written. And so then we bring them through this whole transformative process where they go, wow, I didn't realize that I could actually do this. And it feels good. And I think that I want to keep writing and I want to do more books. And it's amazing. I mean, I had a client who said, you make me feel like I can do anything now. And her book is coming out, she's publishing through Hay House, through Balboa Press. And her book is coming out soon. And it's like, that is what I live for. And so I'm right there with every client.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's amazing. And I totally know what you mean. Like, cause I can imagine, I mean, I haven't written a book or published a book, but I want to in the future. And when I do that, you will definitely be hearing from me when I'm ready for that. But, I know just there's very similar blocks that can come with just being a coach, like, who am I to like help people with this stuff? There's a million people doing something similar or maybe even the same thing, but it's just like, you're different. Like there's no one exactly like you, and your voice is so relevant, and people are going to connect to you in a way that they're not going to connect to somebody that is doing maybe exactly what you're doing. And your perspective is so relevant.
Yeah. And it really is, it's like dating. I mean, this is the connection between like, what you do as a coach with, love relationships and soulmates and twin flames. And it's like, it is like dating. There's a book, like your book, your voice is meant for someone or a group of people specifically that nobody else nobody else will resonate with them. So that's why it's important, you know?
It's very similar. And that's what I say to like, that's how I feel about when I manifest clients into my life. It's like constantly manifesting my soulmate over and over again, because it's like, it's the exact right people, and the wrong people, they bounce away. Like they bounce off. And it's like the same thing in love.
Yeah.
Well, there's one left standing. So to speak.
Yeah, it is true. And there's this whole alchemy that goes on. I'm a Reiki master, which not a lot of people know, but I am a Reiki master. And as a spiritual entrepreneur, I definitely infuse my work with clients with that energy work. And there is this alchemy that happens when you say yes to doing a book, even though you're scared, even though you don't know exactly how it's all going to fall into place, but you trust, you step outside yourself and you trust the universe enough to like guide you. Powerful stuff happens every time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. And, honestly, this is really all of this, just following like your launch and everything that you're doing, and, just really kind of focusing on the writing aspect. It's very inspiring to me, and it makes me like, really like, all right, Gianna, what are you doing in your book? So yeah, it might have to be sooner than later.
Yeah.
So I wanted to pull up these questions here, because there was a good amount. So let's see here. And where are they? There was lots of good questions. There they are. Okay. Yep. 29 comments.
Wow.
Okay. Some of them, they're not all questions, but some of them are like, oh, wow, awesome. What do I ask? Okay. All right. So this, I'm just going to go in order here. This is a question from a girl named Savannah in my group. What do you do with writer's block? Do you believe in writer's block? If you believe in it, how do you overcome it? Yeah.
That's a great question, Savannah. And I was just talking with one of my friends yesterday who is a #1 best-selling author with the New York Times about this. And and writer's block is a little controversial, I will say. Do I believe that there are times when you have to pause and reflect on a creative piece and give it a little bit of time and space in order to receive your next like download from the universe? Yes. Do I consider it a block? Not necessarily. I believe that the writing process has to be paced. So sometimes you may feel like with your timeline that, oh my goodness, nothing's coming, I'm blocked, like it's horrible. But sometimes you have to step away and just allow. I do believe that writer's block can seem real in the sense of if you are getting in your own way and you're overthinking it and you're not letting the universe like come in and help co-create with you, that can be conceived as or perceived as a block. Sometimes the myth of, I call it a myth. Some writers are going to argue with me about this, but writer's block can be a label that we use for something else that we're not completely aware of yet. So for instance, if you're writing something that's really intense and heavy, you could be feeling depressed, but thinking, oh no, it's writer's block. But you could be actually really depressed and you need to do some self-care. We get in our heads a lot about what we're writing, and we put a lot of pressure and expectation on ourselves, and that can cut us off from our connection with the divine and co-creating that way. So maybe you could call it a block. I tend to shy away from that term. I believe that also you can feel blocked when there's something about yourself that is coming up for work, your own self-work, that you're not quite looking at. So for many writers, it's self-worth stuff. Am I good enough to do this? And your ego and that fear will creep in and want to like sabotage you. It'll want to make you like procrastinate or go watch Netflix or just like do it later. Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do the book later, or I'll do the book next month, or I'll do the book when my life's not so crazy, you know. So people will start something and then they'll quit. And it's not because of writer's block. It's because they have their own work that they need to do first, that they need to really pull themselves up and look at that fear and go, you know what? I do feel scared. I do feel like I'm not confident about my ability as a writer right now, but I'm going to push through it anyway and see what happens. Every writer deals with the so-called writer's block, and it's really either fear and rooted in something about yourself that you need to take a look at and be gentle with, or you merely just need to like kind of give yourself a breather and go do something fun and allow creativity to flow naturally. So those are my two big pieces of advice for that.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I know I started guest blogging, and I know my first guest blog, I had some of those kind of feelings come up, like, oh, it's scary, like, who am I to like write this and, you know, put this out into the world. And, you know, it made me want to procrastinate, and, you know, I did something similar that really helped, you know, which was like, you know, really reflected, like, hey, yeah, like I am definitely capable in this message. Like, I'm the one to share it. And, you know, just, it was really like a little bit of a worthiness piece, but, you know, also getting out of your head. And really great advice. Really great advice. Okay. And she had another question, Savannah did. How do you constantly remind yourself that what you have to share is imperative for people to hear?
Yeah. So this is a question or something that a lot of clients will say to me at some point during working together. They'll have that moment and they'll be like, oh, who am I? I'm just like someone like, you know, hanging out in New Jersey, like who's going to care about me, you know? But that's when you turn it around. That's when you flip it and remind yourself of the time, because we all have one of these stories, the time that at some point in your life you were in a bookstore or somewhere in school, wherever, and you found one book that you started to read and it completely like hit you in the gut. It sucker punched you in a way that you were like, whoa, this has just made me shift the way that I think or feel or perceive love or business or life or whatever. That was written by someone who had exactly the same fear as you did. Who's going to really care if I put this out there? Like, you know, but they put it out there. Sorry, my cats are fighting. Sorry, my cats are like fighting. I don't know if you can hear them like hissing at each other. So flipping it and really reminding yourself that whoever wrote that book that impacted you at whatever age had exactly the same thought of like, geez, like I'm writing this, but what's the point? Who's going to care? But they put it out there and it reached you, and you can absolutely, and you will absolutely have the same impact on someone else.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have two cats.
Yeah. They always, one is 11 and one is 1. So big age difference. And they always love to fight or cause trouble whenever I do any type of interviews or live streams, without question.
Your attention's not on me. Give it back.
Yeah, they're so funny.
Yeah, I have 2 dogs, and they can be like that too, but they're both passed out. So, okay. So the last question from Savannah was, how do you overcome embarrassment of promoting your book or books?
Well, I would have to really kind of go deeper into that and ask, like, what is it that embarrasses you about promoting your book? You know, this is a kind of a broad topic, but sometimes it can be, if they're writing a book that is a little bit outside of their comfort zone, or is something that maybe is a little provocative, you know, like I have worked with a client who did a book about sex and kink, and it was fiction. And
Crime. I know who you're talking about, right?
Yeah, and crime. Yeah. Well, I mean, and she's publicly spoken about our work together, so I can name her, and that's fine. So Sheryl Muir, who wrote Angel of the Night, well, we worked together, and she had exactly that same thought because she was an entrepreneur and, you know, very playing it safe. And all of a sudden she was going to come out with this book about the BDSM, sex, kink, crime, like very, very provocative and like a 50 Shades of Grey-esque fan fiction in a way. And she was like, wow, you know, my family, my friends, like, this is pretty big. And she worked through that, and she went out there and she owned it. And one thing that I told Sheryl was, you know what, you're an amazing writer and you are very passionate about what you were doing. So go out there and own it. Go out there and brand yourself as a mentor for people who want to write this stuff, because you're going to give a ton of women permission to liberate themselves. And she ran with it, and she's out there, and I'm really proud of her, you know. But if you're not necessarily writing about sex or BDSM and wanting to go out there and be like, you know, the person for that, if you're embarrassed about promoting yourself, this is really the time that you have to do that work on your own self-confidence, your own self-esteem. And the more that you believe in yourself, the more that people are going to pay attention and want to buy your book. And every author kind of has to go over that initial hump of, whoa, like, I'm putting my work out there and not everybody's going to resonate, and some people might not even like it. So for instance, I have a really well-known blog called The Right Love Project that, you know, Gianna, you've read it, and a lot of women follow it. And that was the first big, really personal project that I have done as a writer in probably 6 years, I think, 6 or 7 years. And it has been about 6 or 7 years since I've actively blogged. I used to have a writing blog, a literary blog, and I used that as a vehicle to mentor authors on promoting themselves. And I would go and do a lot of public speaking. I'd go to colleges and public speak about, if you want to be a writer, you have to build an author platform and whatever. So to go from that to writing about my love life, and in a very, very vulnerable and honest way, writing about the men I was dating, doing it in a way where nobody could figure out who they were. There were, you know, pseudonyms, and I didn't include details that would have given their identity away. But that was intense. That was a holy shit moment for me. Even in all the years that I've, you know, been a writer. And my worst fear was that the guy that I was seeing at the time was going to find the blog. And he did find the blog. He found the blog, and he was not happy about it. He figured out that part of it was about him. And he, you know, his reaction was just, I got, you know, a really hateful, scathing message from him. And we weren't together at the time, but, you know, that happens. I have also had people men criticize me because they don't understand why I'm writing about my love life. And, you know, you get nasty messages.
You want to because you can.
Right. Yeah. But on the flip side, as much as that stings, I see the big picture. And the big picture is that I get far more comments from women who are reading, and emails and private messages saying, you are in my head. Like, you know exactly what I'm going through right now. And thank you for like being able to say what I've never been able to talk about. And this is about liberating and empowering other people. So when you feel embarrassed to put your work out there, remember that the universe is co-creating through you. So it's not really about you. It's about the bigger picture and the bigger purpose that is going on. And you have to be brave enough to push through that.
Right. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I think that's really great advice. I think that, you know, with putting yourself out there in any way, whether it be through a book or whatever, those kind of feelings can come up, you know, in general coaching, and even in your love life too, those kind of feelings can come up. Like,
yeah,
you know, not wanting to feel rejected by anybody, but it's really just like knowing who you are so strongly and being so good with yourself that, like, you don't need other people's approval to feel validated. And also,
Yeah.
you know, like when you feel really good about who you are, you attract a lot more approval from others than you did probably previously. And I found that was the case for my career too. Like, you know, in my love life, but also in my coaching career, where I used to get so much crap from people when I would put myself out there, but I was also putting myself out there and I was very afraid. And I was like, oh, who am I? Like, is this wrong? Like, to promote myself? Like, you know, does this make me a bad person? But it's like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to help people and support yourself. And
yeah,
and it's
that's a good point. And to make it, to use this idea and make it really relatable for your audience with love and soulmates and things like that. And I've blogged about this, but so recently I was in a relationship with a man that I had manifested, I guess if you use the term the one, or you believe in the one, I don't know, but like I had manifested the dream guy, and it was great. And it was really spectacular. And what ended up happening was the relationship ended very quickly because he got scared. He ended it, and he ran. And ironically, like, I was not devastated by that. I was not like soul crushed by it, because I was so confident in myself by this point as a woman and feeling whole and complete. That, you know, it's like when you believe in yourself enough, like when things happen, you know, it sucks, but you keep going. You keep going because you know that you're going to be okay and that you are okay.
Right. And I think it's also too, like, and from a law of attraction perspective, which is a big foundation of my group and what I really believe and what I practice in every area, you know, if you're really in alignment with your desire, if you're loving yourself, you're whole and complete or whatever in the soulmate aspect. And if somebody runs away, that's a good thing. They weren't it. You want them to run. Go.
Yeah.
The takes itself out.
Right. Yeah. Well, it is true, because it was amazing how, like, he was, you know, the concept of the twin flame, he was my other half. He was the male version of me. But the thing was that sometimes, you know, you're ready and you're aligned and they're not. And he actually said to me, you know what, like, I can't do this. Like, I am still basically dealing with a whole bunch of things, and you deserve to, like, just move on. And, you know, and being confident in that.
Right. Right. Yeah. You know, it's funny. And this is, you know, on love life stuff again, like my boyfriend before, Justin, like my ex-boyfriend, he was very, very like me. And I remember when I first met Justin, I remember thinking, like, 'cause I have a twin sister and we're very similar, but very different. And he reminded me a lot of my twin sister. And it was like he was like this other part of me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not like me, but he, like, complimented me really well. And it was, like, very unexpected, but I don't know. It worked out, obviously.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do want to say about the whole, like, you know, I don't even know if he was a twin flame, but when you do meet people who are like that mirror for you, it really allows yourself to see yourself in an external way. So for me, all of the things that he said about, you know, because he has a lot of self-confidence issues, but like, you know, and he put me on a pedestal in some ways, which I kind of looked at him and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're this great guy. Like, you're so fabulous, and you need to just believe in yourself, and you need to have more confidence. And for me, that mirrored the times in my past when I wasn't confident. So it was like I was telling myself, like, wow. It was like I was seeing myself and finally, like, going, you know what? Like, I'm an amazing person and I deserve amazing love, and I won't settle for anything less. So it's powerful when someone mirrors you or mirrors a part of yourself that you used to be, and you're like, I've done so much work. I can't believe I had that much low self-esteem when I was younger, you know?
Yeah. And it really like solidifies who you are now.
It does. It completely does.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's funny how much, publishing a book and manifesting your soulmate are very similar.
It is. I never really thought about it until today. Like, yeah.
Me either. Okay. So, and this is a question from Ashton. He's a guy in my group. Okay. Any tips and tricks would be awesome, but I'm curious how you feel about self-publishing versus a publisher, as well as ebook versus paperback.
Yeah. Okay. So to break it down, like the difference between just the overview between traditional and self-publishing is that, to publish a traditional book, you need to write your book. If it's a fiction book, you need to completely write the book, get it to the point where it's as polished and edited as possible, and you feel really, really good about it. And then that's when you submit query letters to agents. And it's like dating. You want to match your manuscript with an agent that really believes in it. So that process of finding an agent can drag on for a really long time. And to be completely realistic about it, it could take a year. It could take 5 years. It just really depends. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. It's just a numbers game, and it's like getting queries out there and getting feedback from agents, and that can take a long time. And then once you get the agent, that's the first step of it. But beyond that, that agent needs to go and try to sell it to a publisher. So that can take a lot of time. My friend Jay, it took him 12 years to, he went through 3 agents and finally got a really great book deal. But I do warn people, like, if you think that you're going to just kind of come out of the gate and get out there and get this like amazing agent and amazing book deal, you're going to have to wait probably a couple years. It's going to be consistent effort. Now with self-publishing, you can, get something out there really as fast as you want to, because you're in control of that process. So you're in control of how the book is, designed, how it's formatted, how it's promoted, how you're getting it out there, whether it's Amazon or you're using another method to self-publish. Self-publishing really does give entrepreneurs way more control over what they're doing. And just because you self-publish doesn't mean that you can't eventually get a regular book deal. I have a client who self-published on Amazon. She became number 1 in Amazon in several categories about parenting. The book is Hot Mess to Mindful Mom, and her name is Ali Katz, Katz. You can look her up on Amazon. And we took that, we got her some traction that way. And then we went and said, okay, now that we know people love the book, let's try to get an agent. So we actually got her signed with Eckhart Tolle's agent. Eckhart Tolle is a very well-known spiritual guy. But we got her Eckhart Tolle's agency. And then what we did was we built a book proposal around her second book that she wanted to do. So while all this was happening, she knew, I'm doing a second book. However it gets out in the world, it's going to get out there, but I'm definitely doing the second book. So let's just write the book, work on the proposal, and see what happens. So we were writing her book, we were working on her book proposal, and we ended up getting her a 2-book deal with a publisher in New York. So she went from being self-published and then crossed over into traditional publishing. And it worked out for her because now she has this brand that is building. And I would say that if you are really wanting to get your book out there sooner than later and you don't have the patience to wait, self-publish. You can self-publish through Create Space on Amazon. You can do it for, as if you were to do it, it would average probably a couple $100 if you had them design the book for you and all of that. But it's very cost effective. And with ebook versus paperback, I recommend that you get both. If you're going to go through Amazon and self-publish, have both formats available. The traditional print book is never going to die, even though there's this whole myth that print is going to just like be really archaic, and which is not true. Print still has a good solid like 50% of the market. So people love to hold books. People love, and to be able to go into a bookstore and get a book is still, I mean, I still am buying books, I have them on my desk. So.
Right. That's exactly how I feel about books as like a consumer.
Yeah.
It's so much easier and more convenient for me to go out and buy a book and like have it in my hands and be able to bring it somewhere than like have to pull it up on some electronic, and be like, oh, I have to carry this around.
Yeah.
That's how I feel anyways. But okay. So somebody asked this is a question, I don't know if it's like rhetorical, but do I really want to write a book? Maybe like, do I really want to write a book?
I don't know. That's something that, you got to go with your gut on it. A lot of times fear will try to talk you out of doing a book, but your gut knows that if you've had this inkling, this nagging feeling that keeps getting stronger over time, do the book, because what's the worst that could happen? That you write the book? Most people are afraid of writing because they're afraid of rejection. That's really what it comes down to. If you write a book, you're ahead of the game, actually. Like 90% of people wish they could write a book, but they never actually do it. So ask yourself, if it's the end of my life and I'm 90 and in a rocking chair on a porch somewhere, am I going to regret not at least writing the book? And if the answer is yes, then just do it. Just do it. Get help, which is why I'm here.
I mean, like, again, as somebody that, I feel like I've been so exposed to the publishing your book process just from dating Justin. Like,
yeah,
the whole amount of time that I've known him, he's been writing this like incredible novel that he's just so passionate about. And he's been trying to get it published for a while now. And, it almost like makes me feel like about writing a book, like almost a little intimidated, but like, and that's also kind of how I felt when I first started my business. And I know that like what made that so much easier was getting support, like hiring a business coach just made my progress so fast, made it so easy, no guessing, no DIYing it. Like, if you can avoid that, if you can afford to get support in whatever it is that you're doing, it makes life so much easier. And I was just like, when I first met Alisia, I was like, Justin, look.
Yeah.
You're check out. Like, and, because I just, I know from personal experience, just like in my own business, like when I was trying to DIY everything for the sake of like saving money, like it was self-sabotage. Like it was making things so hard, and like trying to waste all this time and this energy and this effort trying to figure these things out was just definitely like I felt.
That's a good point. And I want to speak to that because there are people who come across my path, just over time in general, and they will ask me questions, and I will tell them, I will give them advice, and they will still ignore it. They will still ignore it, and they'll say, no, I'm not going to listen to everything that you just said. I'm just going to get it out there and just do it the way that I am going to do it. And what's really hard about watching that is people, they pull the trigger and they rushed. If they're going to self-publish, they rush to get the book out there, and they don't edit the book. They don't have it designed in a way that is aesthetically pleasing or attractive to people. They just think, oh, I'm going to slap this up on Amazon and I'm going to make $1 million and I'm going to be like an overnight success. And that's a very dangerous thing to do, because the industry, the publishing industry, watches Amazon. Amazon is where a lot of agents go, a lot of editors go, and they pay attention to categories. Like what is going on, what is moving in different categories, what is getting a lot of buzz, who's getting a lot of 5-star reviews and comments, what is going on out there. And if there are books that are very poorly written and it's very obvious, which industry experts, I mean, we could spot like an author that just doesn't care, like in a heartbeat. We can tell, like, they don't care. They're just kind of out there, you know. They're going to ignore because there are these wonderful Cinderella stories of people who have poured their heart and soul into a book. They've done their due diligence. They've, you know, really edited it well, put it out there, packaged it very nicely. And the writing is strong and compelling. They may have put it on there for 99 cents, but it starts moving very fast. And when it starts moving very fast, you know, people in the industry are like, whoa, like, what is going on with that book? And there's a writer, Amanda Hawking, who years and years ago started selling, I think she was writing, it wasn't sci-fi, it was like fantasy, it was like scientific, like sci-fi fantasy or something. I'd have to go back and look. But anyway, Amanda Hawking is a $1 million Cinderella story where she went out there, was selling her book for 99 cents. She believed in it. She loved it so much. People started talking about her books. And she eventually got a book deal. I believe it was with Little Brown, which is a really big, Little Brown published Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. So Amanda Hawking went from living in a small town in the Midwest, I think, and you know, being really broke, to getting a $1 million book deal. And I mean, my whole point with that is, if you're gonna do this, like, do it right. Don't cut corners. I'm not saying you have to go out and blow a ton of money to do a book, to self-publish, but at least make sure that your grammar is correct, that you have an attractive book cover, that when you upload it for Amazon, that the format is nice, like visually nice. I mean, that makes a big difference. It really does.
Right. That makes sense. People want to look at attractive things, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And even if you're trying to get an agent, you know, when you do your query letters, make sure they're very, very well written. Make sure you take the time to get to know the agent that you're querying. Make it personal. Make sure that they're writing that if they say that they will take a look at the first 10 pages or whatever, make sure that the writing you give them is actually really, really solid and tight and polished. You can't rush this. And people want to rush it. People want to be like, no, I'm just going to get out there. I'm just going to do it. And it's like, you know, I shake my head and I'm like, you know, you're literally wasting a golden opportunity. Because if you would have taken that extra day or two to, you know, tighten up a couple things, put some more effort into it, that could have made that agent go, you know what, I want to request your whole manuscript to read it. You know, I want to see more, versus getting that rejection.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Let's see here. Next, just kind of pulling these up on my phone here. Okay, this one was another question about writer's block that we kind of already addressed. Okay. I'm a writer. I've been, my abilities became more profound, skillful. Now I want to write several books. Okay. So how do you, this question basically from Eric is, how do you get started in writing a book?
Yeah, good question, Eric. Depends on the type of book you want to write. You want to have a tentative outline. You know, let's say that you want to write a a self-help book. I'm just going to say, let's say you're doing a self-help book on healthy eating or something like that. You want to have a tentative idea of what the book is actually about. So, I mean, do you want to help people lose weight through healthy eating? Do you want to, help them, like, I'm just throwing things out there, like solve a skin issue with healthy eating? Do you want to help them like have more energy? Like, what is it that you want to accomplish with that book? Jotting down a couple ideas on paper really helps. So if you could write down everything you'd want to include in the book at a high level, what would it be? Maybe you want to include all of it. Maybe you want to have a chapter on healthy eating to lose weight, healthy eating to have clear skin, healthy eating to, prolong your life or things like that. Jotting down key points and numbering them, like, okay, chapter 1 could be about this, chapter 2 could be about that, will help you have something to anchor yourself to. Sometimes writers can just start writing and then organize it later, and that's great. If you're a very free spirit, creative, flowing spirit, that might work for you to just start writing. But 9 times out of 10, people need to have some sort of organization with how this is all going to go down. So I recommend that you do that. And it doesn't have to be super structured or formal. It could literally just be getting a notebook and saying, okay, this page is just devoted to a rough outline of the book. And if that gives you enough sense of where you're going with it, then pick one and start writing that first chapter. And I just make sure you stay organized. So there's a really good writing tool called Scrivener, which I can give Gianna. I'll give you like the info on it and you can share it with them. But basically it's like Microsoft Word on literary crack. That's the best way I can describe it. So most people write books, they're typing in Word. Scrivener is awesome. All of my friends in the industry use Scrivener because it's a visual tool also. So it allows you to organize visually all of your notes and your outline while you're actually typing. It's cool. You got to go to the site and take a look at it and do a little tour. I can't do it justice, but Scrivener makes people go, whoa, like, okay, I actually can do this now because I feel like I'm prepared. So that might help.
Yeah, it sounds like a good tool. I'm actually probably after I upload this, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Justin, watch this."
Yeah.
Get some help. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So. Okay. This might be the last question. Let's see here. And this question is from Paul, and he wants to know, he doesn't find it hard to get inspired to write. He just can't, he has a hard time finishing a book, I guess, which I guess maybe could go into the writer's block aspect, but he also wants to know like the process, like on completing the book, and also like costs involved to like getting it out there and things.
Yeah. So actually finishing a manuscript can be challenging for a lot of people. You know, if you are not finishing, if you're consistently not finishing books, I would ask yourself, are you putting like way too much pressure? Are you biting off more than you can chew? Because sometimes, you know, we get really good motivation, we get good traction, we get like halfway in, and then we're like, oh, I still have a lot more left to do, you know? So chunking it out, making it like breaking it out into really small writing goals and then not looking beyond that can help you. It can help you feel like you're actually making some progress. The other thing is scheduling out your writing time. If you feel like that would work best. Scheduling it out in your calendar so you have a reminder, and not letting the pressure, the external pressure of, if people know that you're writing a book and they keep asking you, when is the book going to be done? Not letting that kind of like fuck with your mind, because, everybody wants to like know and be in on your book, and it can overwhelm a writer. If they're trying to sit in that creative process, it can make them feel really pressured and shut down and make them give up, So I would consider all of that. And then when it comes to actually getting the book out there, like I said, if you're self-publishing, it can really vary in terms of costs. But if you went through like CreateSpace on Amazon, you could do it for probably, this is just off the top of my head, a couple $100. I would say probably the average falls between $400 and $500 if you're having them do the design for it and the formatting. But definitely look into that. There are other ways of self-publishing where it can get a lot more elaborate. So for instance, people hire me sometimes to just do the whole thing with them. It's like turnkey. They hire myself and my team to, walk the journey as they're writing the book, coaching them through it, editing the book, getting it designed, getting it formatted, getting it launched, and all of the back-end strategic part of that, getting it promoted, and a post-launch promotional campaign, publicity, like all of that, that can get expensive. If you're hiring a team to handle that, you definitely will be in the realm of 10K plus very easily. But the great thing about self-publishing is that you can invest as little or as much as you want to into it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know and this is same in just in the coaching world in general, you can pretty much hire somebody for anything if you want to, whether it's advertising, Facebook ads, writing your copy for you, website this, editing your videos, just pictures, blah, blah. You can hire people for everything. But
yeah,
if you're on a tight budget, really kind of prioritizing what you can do yourself, but what's you really should hire somebody else to do that's not going to really hinder your progress and hinder what you from moving forward with your book or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. And there are a couple things I want to talk about quickly related to this, because so there are a lot of scammers out there, and I see people fall into this trap very, very easily. And, I even see it sometimes on Facebook. I'll see people who are claiming to do things that they really aren't equipped to do. And I know that they are just taking people's money. So, so the first thing I want to talk about is if you're trying to get an agent out there, and if an agent ever asks you to pay them up front to read your book, that's a scam. A reputable agent will never, ever, ever charge you anything up front to be your agent. So the agent, it's like a real estate commission. The agent gets paid when you get that book deal. So that's why they're out there trying to get you a book deal, because they want to get that commission. You'll pay probably on average, when they do take commission, 10 to 12% of whatever the book deal is. And, that's standard. But if an agent ever says, hey, I have a reading fee, run away. It's not legit. There are writers contests out there that will charge a fee to submit your writing for consideration. 9 times out of 10, that is okay. That is not a scam, because usually what happens is the winner of that contest will get a cash prize. Plus other things. And so that fee goes towards that big pot of that cash prize. But if it's just a solo agent or a literary agency that's requiring a fee, that's a scam. Run away from it. The other thing I want to say is, for those of you out there who are looking to self-publish, and I know there probably are a couple of you out there who are looking to do it in the most cost-effective way and getting the most bang for your buck, there are people out there who call themselves publishers, who are like vanity publishers, and they are set up a lot like, so my business, I have a media company. So people pay me, they pay me a fee, they pay me a turnkey rate to have me do all of these things for them and getting their book out there. The difference is that I just take that fee up front. I'm not a publisher. There's a very big reason why I'm not a publisher. I'm not a publisher. I do not have rights to any of my clients' work. I do not take royalties. There are vanity publishers out there, these little tiny operations. They say they're a publisher. They make you pay them a lot of money up front. And then if you read the fine print in the contract, they're also taking royalties on top of what you just paid them. And they're going to be making money off of your book. And 9 times out of 10, like, they also own the rights to your book. So they're scamming you. Do not ever pay someone who is a publisher to publish your book and then also allow them, to have rights to that work. That's not okay. It's not okay. And I purposely walk every client through this conversation because I tell them, hey, guess what? You're investing 10 grand into having us do all of this for you. But I just want to let you know, I am not the publisher of your work. And let's go through the contract. I own no rights. I take no royalties. I don't make a dime more from your book beyond that $10,000. Beyond that, you own the book. You are, handling the publication of your book legally, and you make all of the profit. That's how it should be. If you're paying someone to publish your book, be very meticulous about what does that legally mean. Because there are a ton of scammers out there. I saw one yesterday. These people who say, oh yeah, I'm a publisher. Well, okay. If anytime someone approaches you and says, I'm a publisher, really scrutinize what they mean by that, because they're probably going to scam you. And that sounds so bad. But there are people that prey on people's hopes and dreams about getting their book out there. And it's really hard for people who are in the industry to see that happen,
Right. And I feel like there's some of those people probably in every industry. Like, I know I have friends in the music industry and just in the coaching industry too. Like, there are people out there that are just trying to make money and their heart's not in the work. And that's what's really important to me. And this is why a lot of people are drawn to me too, because they can really tell that I care. And all of my clients are like, I can just really tell that you're genuine. You care. And I feel that same thing from you. And that's why I'm really behind Alisia and everything that she does, because I can really tell that she cares about people.
Yeah.
And, and she wants you to succeed, and she wants, she's going to do everything that she can to support you when she works with you, but also she's also going to honor her own time and energy, and, not like slave herself away, in like a way that's not mutually beneficial. And so I think that's really great. And, that really, I wouldn't send my own boyfriend to somebody if I didn't feel that way about them, love of my life. I would not do that. So I think that's really telling, and I think that's really great advice. And I think it's good to know that, because there are a lot of people that, in my group and in other places that do want to write a book, and they really care about people, and they have this big passionate message, or, whether it's through fiction or nonfiction or whatever, there's like a big purpose there. And, based on those hopes and dreams, there are people that can maybe prey on that, and you just want to be aware of that. And I think that's really good that you're giving that advice. So yeah, I think that, as far as, that stuff goes, I know that you have a really amazing course coming out, or it just came out, right?
Yeah, it's Early Bird opened like late Sunday night. So Early Bird has been open for about almost 2 days now. It's it's a 7-month masterclass. So Every year I do this annual masterclass. The doors open for it, for registration in December, because everybody is thinking about the new year and New Year's resolutions. And a lot of people are like, oh, I have to do my book this year. I want to do the book, but they don't know quite like how to actually do that. And I've talked to a lot of people who say, you know what, I tried to do it on my own, or I did this like little mini course and I just didn't feel like I had any actual accountability or support with it. Like I didn't have anybody there that I could like call up and, have those monthly meetings with or whatever. And so I gave up and I thought, so what would it be like if I built my own masterclass out where it was everything that I have ever learned and ever come across with clients in writing and publishing, and had all of that information, but then brought in a ton of best-selling authors and then actually had me doing it live. So it's not something that where I'm pre-recording myself. I'm actually there. We're actually getting on the phone. We're actually live on group calls, and they actually have real-time feedback and access to me. And I thought, I need to do that. So I created Right to Rise, and its debut launch was a year ago, and I had over 10 people go through it, and it blew up into something even bigger than I could have ever anticipated. And I said, okay, like I'm bringing it back in December for enrollment, and I'm going to load a ton of value into it for 2017. So the people who are going through it this year are going to get an experience that no other person in the industry is offering right now, because a lot of people will give them something evergreen, and it's like, here you go, you're off, I've taken your money, you're off on your own, go figure it out. But that doesn't serve people,
And evergreen, for those of you guys that don't know what that means, that basically just means something that's like pre-made, pre-recorded, and like, here, go figure it out on your own kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that stuff can be helpful, but it's really great, and just with anything, to have help in implementing and accountability and like working through your own blocks. Sometimes like working through it on your own is a little too much, and that support really makes a difference. And just with anything.
Yeah. And it's designed to be a masterclass. People say, well, why 7 months? Like, why that long? Because you hear about these 90-day programs that are out there, like write your book and publish in 90 days and whatever. And I mean, they serve the people they need to serve. But there are a number of reasons why I chose 7, because based on the average time that I've seen my clients write and finalize books, like actually get the manuscript to a point where they're like, okay, I'm done with it, I'm ready to publish it or whatever. That's right around the time that they feel good about completing it. And 7 is a very sacred number in alchemy. So the energy work behind it, 7 is the number of, destiny. When you align with the power of the number 7, you're, creatively on the right track. So there's a lot that plays into that. And 7 is my lucky number. So that's why, but also because, we have lives. Like a lot of people still have, a day job, or they have commitments. They have a family. They're working. They have a family. Like the kids, are involved in sports, and there's like crazy schedules. And it's meant to give people enough time to where if they sign up to do this, in 7 months, they can absolutely have their manuscript done. And all they need to do is write 1 page a day. So if you can write a page a day, which is about like 250 words, you can do it in the morning when you get up, before the kids get up, if you're having your coffee or whatever, or do it at night when the kids go to bed, or on your lunch break at work. 1 page. It's one page. If you can do that every day, you can do 30. That's like 30 pages a month. And then those 30 pages add up. And by the end of it, you have a manuscript. And what also is really cool about that is you sign up for the masterclass, every month is themed so that it builds on itself. So like the very first month is all about, okay, you're writing a fiction book, or you're writing a nonfiction book, or you're doing your memoir. Okay, where do you start? Like, how do you actually do this? How do you get organized? Like, let's make sense of all of this in a way that feels good for you. And so we start off and we just build from the ground up. And I go in and I talk about all of the elements that go into really compelling fiction writing, or how do you organize and research for a nonfiction book? How do you develop your voice? How do you have confidence on the page? If you're writing your memoir, like, you have all of these notes and all of these memories and all of these things, and you're trying to weave them together and create, a life story that is honoring your journey, but also is powerful for the reader. How do you do that? And how do you do it without getting overwhelmed? So we go through every month everything on like fear, writer's block. What do you do when you want to give up? How do you do self-care as a writer? How do you get creatively tapped in and stay creatively tapped in and inspired? And then it gets really juicy and we get into stuff like, okay, so you want to publish. What does that look like? Let's go really in depth with traditional publishing. How to find an agent, how to query an agent, how to write a book proposal, how to know what to expect as you move through that world, what to do, what not to do, self-publishing, what the essentials that you need to self-publish, everything that goes into it, book design, marketing, building an author, like it's so much. Anything you could ever want to know, I have put in this masterclass. And while you're learning all of this, you're writing, and every month you have, there's a group call on Zoom. So we do a video call together. You have 2 30-minute calls a month with me. So as you're writing, if you feel like, oh, I'm stuck, like I have no idea what to do next, and I need her help, you just book a call on my calendar. We hop on, we figure it out. I help you overcome those blocks or those fears. I give you like a little dose of, creative mojo. You keep going. And some people will keep that time for emergencies, and some people will know that they consistently want to talk to me. So every other week we have that standing call together. Some people are like, every other Monday, like, that's our time. And I'm like, okay, like I'll see you then. And they submit their writing. There are deadlines every month where they email me their writing and I review it and I give them really detailed feedback. So I look at the big picture of what's going on, what makes sense, what needs to be tweaked, what needs to flow better. And I give all of that strategy to them in really detailed industry. These are comments that if you were working with an editor on your book for a publisher, it's the same thing. So it's great because you get all of this value, you get the real-time experience with me and the feedback and the accountability, but you also have other experts who are coming in and talking about all of these things as well.
Like all of the different aspects.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of the, I looked at all the people that are going to be working with you on this masterclass, and there was some really awesome names in there.
Yeah. This year I'm really excited because my friend Jay Asher, who's a #1 bestseller on the New York Times list, he's consistently been on the bestseller list for like 9 years now. If you follow young adult fiction, his book 13 Reasons Why, that is the author, Jay Asher of 13 Reasons Why. #1 bestseller on the New York Times list, is going to be the special guest expert this year, and he's amazing. Jay is so great, and he is going to speak to a lot of the things that people want to know about. How did you become a best-selling author? Like, what goes into that? And you're a New York Times #1 best-selling author, so I want to know about that. And we cover all of that, and it's great because it doesn't get better than having a New York Times #1 best-selling author to give you like the straight the straight shot of information, you know?
Right.
It's debunking all of the myths or the questions around, you know, going from being a regular person to making it to that point. Yeah, so it's an incredible experience. And the other great thing about it is that when people go through this masterclass, not only do they get all of this information, and they have this experience, and they have these guest experts that they're learning from, but they have the confidence to actually do something with the book. So it's not like, okay, we're just going to do the book. It's like, no, you know, you're going to do the book, and I'm also going to give you everything you need to go out there and make stuff happen, you know?
Right.
That's important. That's important because it is about the writing and the process and the transformation that happens, but it's also about how do we monetize this for you? You know, if you're an entrepreneur, how do you make this an extension of your brand? How do you make good money from your book? Because you absolutely can make good money from your book. You know, the struggling, starving artist, poor writer, that's just a myth. It's a total myth.
Yeah, right. There are plenty of very successful artists out there of many kinds.
Yeah.
I know that's, you know, definitely something that some people need to let go of, that idea, that belief. I mean, this masterclass seems very, very priceless. Like you're taking them from the very start to like everything that they need to be at the finish line, so to speak, with all of it.
It's a turnkey experience. And I've designed it that way. You know, everything that's part of this and the time frame of it is by design, because I've watched other people out there who have done writing programs, and I've seen the holes that are in those. And I've seen how people have been left with just feeling like, I still have all these questions, and I don't really feel like I had that. Like they want someone to be able to read their writing and say, you know what, you need to fix this or work on this. Like people don't want to be left alone with their book because they know that they're probably going to give up on it. And I don't want them to give up on it.
Right. Yeah. And you know, not only does that like really take away from your own sense of purpose, like people miss out on your message, and that's a really big deal. Like, you know, I think people seriously underestimate how big of an impact they can make in people's lives, and whether that's through a book or whatever. And a book is definitely a huge way of doing that. And if you don't get your book out there, you're doing the world a disservice.
Yeah, it is. It's because, you know, people say, well, who am I to like do this book, and who am I to, you know, share my message with people? And I say, well, who are you not to? Like, who made you exempt from, you know, helping other people? Like, who made you exempt from the human experience? We're all here together, and we're all here to help each other. And I can guarantee you that whatever message or information you have inside of you is going to resonate with someone, and you're going to have somebody say, wow, if it wasn't for what you said or what you wrote, I never would have realized, you know, this or that, or I never would have made that change in my life. Mm-hmm. Every best-selling author, you know, when I talk to them, they don't fathom how profound their reach will be. You know, they're like, yeah, you know, I just wrote that book because I just wanted to like do it for myself, and I was dealing with this, and I just didn't know. I didn't know it would become a bestseller. So
that's powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful. When you're connected to your message and you believe in your message, that energy translates to readers. They feel it. It's that pull. It's the same thing as attracting your soulmate or your twin flame. When the energy is there and you're really aligned, it magnetizes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I totally agree, because I know, like, you know, again, I kind of got into a little bit of this already, but like, you know, the process that I use to manifest Justin and to manifest our relationship, I use that process in my business to manifest my clients and It's a really beautiful, fun process, but, it's all about your energy. And when you're in alignment with like your calling and with your inspiration and your passion, it attracts people. You could do the same amount of work from two different energies and the results are going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your early bird, when is the last day that people can get in on the early bird, and what is that rate, and what is that for the early bird? So
early bird right now, people save over $1,000 off the regular price. So what's cool about that is early bird is valid through the 16th. So it's valid through Friday. And what people get with that is anybody who signs up is going to get, the basics of this is delivered via a private password protected site. So that's where they're going to access everything. And we kick off on the 7th of January. So enrollment is happening now, but we actually start hitting the ground running in the new year on the 7th of January, and it goes to August 7th. So at that time, people are going to get an email with information, how to log into the site, how to access everything. They're also going to be put in a private Facebook group. They will get content through me talking live, also through MP3 and video, and I'll also live stream in the group periodically just to check in on people. There's a monthly Zoom call for the whole group and monthly submission deadlines for their writing. People are also going to get those 2 30-minute one-on-one calls with me, which is great. Every month, 2 30-minute one-on-one calls for every person. And that's important. I want people to be able to use that and feel confident in that. And then I'm going to give written feedback on their writing every month. But with Early Bird, if you sign up, by Friday, I'm actually also going to do developmental editing of your writing. So I'm going to get really, really nitty gritty with your writing and say, okay, this is as an editor, this is what the industry is going to look for. This is what I recommend you do. And I'm actually going to walk you through how to strategically move things around, rework things, whatever, because I want to make it the strongest writing I can for you. So you're also going to get an author branding and visibility strategy session with my book designer and myself. So what that means is, especially if you're looking to self-publish and get your book out there, at the end of 2017 or whenever, it's important to know, how do you do this? Like, how do you actually get out there as a visible author and do it in a way that engages people, excites people, is compelling? We want to make you stand out in a really good way. So how do you do that? So we're going to tell you things like, when you do your book cover, maybe you want to think about X, Y, and Z. And we're going to give you the industry tips so that you stand out from other authors. So that you're not just an author, but you're an author out there making an impact. And by making that impact, you're going to get more people buying your book. You're going to attract clients. You're going to start making more money. That's important. You're going to get 20% off a self-publishing package. Let's say that you decide that you want to hire my company to do everything for you. You'd get 20% off a package for that. And you're also going to get an autographed copy of Jay Asher's book, 13 Reasons Why, which is a really great book. So a great example of very strong writing. So he's someone to really study, especially if you're doing fiction. And I just want to reiterate, if you're doing fiction, if you could be writing a romance novel, you could be writing a book for teens, you could be writing, contemporary fiction. It doesn't matter. Fiction, nonfiction, could be self-help, could be an inspirational book. If you're doing your memoir, your life story, all of those apply to this masterclass. The only thing that wouldn't apply would be if you were doing like a children's picture book. This wouldn't be the right fit. But everything else is fair game. So early bird, if you get in by Friday, you can literally get all of this amazing content, help, expertise for just $297 a month. So you can get on a pay plan, $297 a month. It's automatically billed to your card. You don't have to think about it. It's like set it and forget it, and you're in. doesn't get easier than that.
That's a really good price. And especially, I don't know, like if anybody watching this replay is aware of like what pretty much any kind of traction to kind of get anywhere with anything when hiring any kind of coach usually is around $1,000 a month. So, you know, when you're actually getting hands-on support. So
yeah.
The fact that that's $297 is kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah. I mean, my clients, private clients, they know that my rates start at $5,700 and go up. So clients average around $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for what they do with me and the things that I help them accomplish. But I made this super affordable because I know there are people out there who are ready to do this because they understand that the book can play a bigger picture in growing themselves as an entrepreneur, getting out there and being more visible, monetizing their business. You know, if you could be writing a book about, you know, business coaching. You know, you're an entrepreneur, you want to write a book on your journey and you want to attract more clients and mentor them on business coaching. Well, you could totally do this masterclass and get that book done and then get it out there and attract more coaching clients. And, you know, one client would pay for the cost of the masterclass. It's kind of a no-brainer, and you can write this off as a business expense.
That you can. You definitely can. And I think that that's, you know, the price and the value it is if you're looking to write a book, and it really just definitely does seem like a no-brainer. Like next year, you'll probably see me doing this. To be perfectly honest. When I'm ready for the book, when I'm ready for that book to come out of me and out into the world, which will probably be next year or the following year, I'm definitely going to be doing this masterclass so I can hit the ground running with it. Because, you know, it's just, you save yourself so much time and you just make it so much easier on yourself when you have the support. And to make that kind of investment and that kind of commitment in yourself and in your dreams, that's, to me, that's really self-love, you know, and that's making a commitment to you and to the world and to your dreams. And that's definitely self-love right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and I'm sure there are people who, you know, they may want to just invest and do one payment and be done. And, you know, you can do a pay in full. You know, if people are interested in that, they can, you know, they can reach out to me. They can do it on the site. But, you know, if they feel more secure, like just talking to me first and making sure it's the right fit, we can hop on a call, process payment. Anybody who does want to invest and just do the one pay up front will get, actually, I think it's 4 months if I look at the calendar right. So the masterclass ends on August 7th, but if anybody pays in full right now for early bird, they will get post masterclass support with me through December. So they're going to get basically the masterclass and then me for all of 2017. So post masterclass support really looks like, okay, you know, your manuscript is done, but you still want access to me to walk you through all the other things as you're navigating. Maybe you're doing another revision, or maybe you just like, you're exploring your options and you just want to have me in your back pocket and know that you can get that phone time with me every month. You know, I'm available for 60 minutes a month after that and unlimited email support. So it's not like you have to go it alone. You can still get me, you know, right there with you. So that's a great incentive for people who want to pay in full, because my hourly rate is $525. So that's like insane value. It's insane value that people are getting here, and they're getting me at thousands less than what it normally would be to do all this with me. So
yeah, that's incredible. And
yeah.
You know, so I definitely think it's really incredible. So as far as like the, what's the price difference in like the early bird versus like the non-early bird? Like if somebody were to sign on after Friday, what would that look like for them?
Yeah. So, if you don't make it for early bird, the price is going up by $1,000. So you really want to make sure that you get in now to save yourself that money. You know, that's money. If you save that $1,000 by getting in on the early bird, you can invest that in other ways in your business. You know, like it's a nice savings. So it's a great incentive for people who you know, I tell people, don't overthink it. If you can lock in for $297 a month, oh my goodness, like you can make that back so quickly, you know, within 30 days. Like, you know, you can get another coaching client or whatever and allow that to pay for your masterclass. You know, it'll automatically be billed the same time every month. So like today's the 13th. If you get in today, your next payment will be January 13th, and so on and so on. But yeah, having that monthly payment at such a low price point, under $300, is phenomenal. And if you don't get in now, it will be over $300 for the regular price when the price goes up on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just, you can't beat that value. And also, you know, I wanted to throw this in there too, because I am being an affiliate for Alisia, and this masterclass, it's so incredible. And I'm so excited to be able to share this with you guys. And right now, as you guys know, in my group and, you know, to my list and everybody that, you know, my people, my tribe, I am offering like my holiday special of 50% off my training. And if you sign on to work with Alisia, if you sign on to do this masterclass, I will just give you that training for free for signing on. So bonus. So if you're kind of like, yeah, so I mean, if we're thinking about like, oh, these are both cool. Like, I don't know, Gianna, you were kind of like, this sounded really good. I kind of wanted to do that too. But well, no worries. I got you.
Yeah, that's an awesome incentive.
Yeah.
People are going to love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other cool thing is, you know, anybody who is looking to still go the traditional route, you know, with this masterclass, you're going to get my own personalized, I call it a hit list of agents and publishers in the industry, the top agents and publishers that are movers and shakers that you should consider querying in different categories. So it's like no other, and I can really legit say this, there's no other writing course out there that gets this personalized for you. A lot of people will give out cookie cutter information, and I don't believe in that for what I want to do for people. And the track record that I have with clients, I knew that if I was going to do a group program, that I wanted my results to be able to still work for participants in a group. So people have said I have this Midas touch. You know, when I work with clients, like epic shit does happen. This is like what I'm meant to do, and this is what I'm really good at. So I'm sure as hell going to make sure that, you know, every writer in this group gets the individualized and targeted information that they need for their book. Because if someone is in my book, or in my class doing a book about romance, and someone else is doing a book about, you know, yoga and healthy eating, those are two different books that need two different types of agents. So I'm going to make sure that you get an agent list that's targeted just for you, and not some cookie cutter, you know, master list.
Right.
Because I want you to be able to go out there and like connect with people that are going to help you.
Right. And that kind of support in this that's amazing. Really.
Yeah.
That is really amazing.
Yeah. It's literally me putting in the time and saying, okay, you know, this person is working on this. How can I access my network, look at my Rolodex, and try to match them with people that it's a good connection. You know, it's like dating. So.
Right. Right. You know, don't want to date the wrong people. It won't work out. Same with red agents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to kind of throw in here. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
I think I just want to say, like, seriously, if your gut is telling you, like, go and do this masterclass, you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to be blown away by how much information you're going to get and the value of the time with me. And if you're scared, that's okay. That's okay. I totally get it. Just trusting that I'm going to guide you and I'm going to help you transform into the writer that you want to be, and you're going to be confident and empowered. If you can take that step and just say, you know what, I don't know quite how this is all going to like come together, but I trust you. That's powerful. And the universe will see that, and the universe will absolutely rearrange itself so that you do something incredible and mind-blowing. And I also want to say, if anybody is on the fence and has questions, Gianna, they can let you know, and we will get them on a discovery call with me this week. If you want to get on early bird, but you have, a couple random questions, we'll get you on the phone, and I will answer your questions, and we'll see if it's a good fit. I would rather have people reach out and just say, hey, I'm considering this, what do you think, like, about, I'm doing this book, do you think it would be okay? Like, I would rather have that time and talk to you than have you just like not know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I know, like, because as I already said like a million times already, like I was telling Justin, I was like, you should really look at this masterclass. It's really amazing, and like I think it could probably help you out a lot. And they actually had a discovery call yesterday, and Justin was like, after this discovery call, he like we were like talking about it. And he was like, yeah, like she was really amazing, and like really, I really want to work with her. But she was honest with me. She said, like, I feel like that this master class won't be a right fit for you. I feel like you're too far down the road in the process of publishing your book, but here's how I can help you, Yeah. And it was very, that really shows like that you are being very genuine, and you're, being of service, and really just only looking for the right people. But, if you feel like this could be, like, if you feel pulled to this, I definitely recommend going and taking that leap. And, if you need to talk to Alisia, or if you even want to talk to me, feel free to reach out to either of us, or, I'll send you Alicia's way or whatever, but it's definitely worth the conversation.
Yeah. And to get that hands-on accountability in real time is huge. This is not a set it and forget it thing. This is not I'm going to park you in the corner with 10 hours of videos and good luck writing that chapter. This is, you're getting a lot of information, and we're also going to have real time where I actually touch your writing. That's huge. That's huge. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking this time to answer everybody's questions in my group.
I was excited to be here.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to you, and it was nice to have you answer all these questions. And honestly, I feel like I learned a lot from this call. So
yeah, I hope people have learned a lot, and they can watch the replay and take notes.
Yeah. What I'll do is, for those of you watching the replay, if you're really interested in this course, I will leave a link probably in the description of this video, like above the video, where you can go and purchase your spot. And I'll also, maybe if this is okay with you, Alisia, I can tag you in the post as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And so if you guys have any questions and you just want to like directly send Alisia a message about, maybe hopping on a call with her to kind of have her see if it's going to be a good fit. So I'll tag her in the post, and I'll also leave, if you're like already like, yes, I'm ready to do this, I'll leave a link there too, where you can just go ahead and do that. But in order to get the free, in order to get my training for free, when you go and check out on her website, and she'll have a list of affiliates, and go and click my name. So that way we know that like I referred you. And so that way I can give you my course. Cause if you like mark somebody else's name on accident, then like, it's not going to look like you're somebody that was in my group, and I can't give that to you. So I want to give it to you. I want to take it. So, if you have any questions, reach out. And this was amazing, and I love you guys so much. I hope you have a really great day, and I will be doing, I should have this video up later today, but I'll be doing some other Facebook Lives, so stay tuned for that. Those will be juicy.
Yay. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Gianna.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.